The cold morning sun rose over the city skyline, its light bouncing off glass towers like diamonds in the sky. Inside one of those towers sat Alexander Monroe, a billionaire known for his power, precision, and heart made of stone. His life was built on numbers, not emotions. But that was about to change the moment a small voice cracked through the silence of his marble lobby. "Dad. Mom is in the hospital." The guards froze. The receptionist's pen dropped. And Alexander, who had never seen the girl before, looked up from his phone, his heart stopping mid-beat. Standing there was a little black girl, maybe 8 years old, with tear-streaked cheeks and trembling hands clutching a faded pink backpack. She looked at him with eyes too familiar, eyes that mirrored his own. He frowned, stepping closer, his voice sharp but uncertain. "I think you have the wrong person, young lady." She shook her head fiercely. "No. You're Alexander Monroe, my mom said you're my dad." Every eye in the lobby turned toward him, waiting. His world, one built on order and control, suddenly cracked open like glass under pressure. Alexander had built his empire from scratch. Money, power, fame, he had all of it. But his personal life was a blank void. No wife. No children. Or so he thought. The girl's claim stirred memories he had long buried. One woman, one night, years ago in Atlanta. Her name. Jasmine. She was the only woman who had ever dared to look past his arrogance and see his loneliness, and now, this girl stood before him, her mother's curls, his gray eyes. "Where's your mother now?" he asked, voice softer. "At the hospital," she said, her lip quivering. "She's really sick. She said if anything happens, I should find you." Something twisted in his chest. He didn't know if it was guilt, fear, or something he'd forgotten how to feel. "Love." Without another word, he gestured to his driver. "Take us to her." The hospital smelled like disinfectant and despair. In the dim light of the ICU, Alexander saw Jasmine again for the first time in 9 years. Her once vibrant skin was pale, her breath shallow, but when she saw him, her lips curved in a weak smile. "You came," she whispered. He stood frozen, guilt flooding him. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I tried," she said softly, a tear slipping down her cheek. "But you'd already become someone I didn't recognize. I didn't want my daughter growing up thinking love was something you had to buy." Her words cut deeper than any business failure ever had. He turned to look at the little girl sitting quietly by her mother's bed, so small, so brave, holding her mom's hand as if afraid to let go. "What's her name?" he asked. "Amara," Jasmine breathed. "It means grace." The room went silent. The beeping of the monitor was the only sound between them. He took Jasmine's hand gently. "Let me help you now. Let me help both of you." But Jasmine only smiled sadly. "Help her, Alex. That's all I ever wanted." And before he could say another word, her eyes fluttered closed, the monitor flatlined, Amara screamed. Alexander froze, the world collapsing in a single sound that would haunt him for the rest of his life. The funeral was small. Quiet. Just a handful of people, and one billionaire standing by the grave of the only woman who'd ever shown him what real love meant. He held Amara's hand as she clung to his coat, her eyes dull and lost. For the first time in his life, Alexander didn't care about the cameras, the investors, or the endless meetings waiting for him. He only cared about one thing, this child beside him. "I don't want to go to the shelter," Amara whispered. "Mom said, you'd take care of me." And that was the moment something inside him changed. He bent down to her level, his voice breaking. "You're not going anywhere, Amara. You're coming home with me." The weeks that followed were far from easy. The mansion felt too big, too cold for a child who'd grown up in warmth and love. Amara didn't talk much at first. She'd sit by the window, clutching her mother's old scarf, staring out at the sky. Alexander tried everything, hiring tutors, buying toys, even installing a playroom, but nothing worked, until one night, he found her crying in the garden, whispering to the stars, "Mom. I miss you." He sat beside her, unsure how to comfort her. Then, she looked up and asked, "Do you miss her too?" He nodded slowly. "Every day." "Mom said you were lonely," Amara said softly. "But you don't have to be anymore." And that night, for the first time in years, Alexander felt tears spill down his face. Not of sorrow, but of healing. Months passed. The man who once ruled boardrooms now braided hair, read bedtime stories, and learned to laugh again. Amara's laughter filled the house like sunlight chasing shadows. She became the heartbeat of his home, and the bridge between who he was and who he could still be. On her 9th birthday, Alexander threw a small party in the garden. No reporters, no investors, just love. As she blew out her candles, she looked at him and said, "Dad, Mom would be happy now." He smiled, pulling her into a hug. "She would. Because you saved me, Amara." And as the wind danced through the trees, he realized something profound. Money could build empires, but love built legacies. The man who once thought he had everything finally understood what it meant to have enough love, family, redemption, and a little girl who reminded him that Grace, Amara, was all he ever needed.